You know the Batman theme song?
We can't use any of that unless you want to pay Warner Brothers.
As long as I use 5 seconds or less, it is 100% fair use. And as long as we commentate on Batman, either the movie or the animated series that uses that theme. But also, I didn't use the actual theme. I just made some sounds in my mouth. So, who's to say?
Can't copyright ideas. Well, actually...
Hey everybody, welcome back to Rebootleggers. This is an intellectual property and copyright law podcast where we really get into the logistics of how legal that is. We also do reboots when we're not good at that other thing I just said. I'm Scott Owen.
I'm Frank Serra.
Frank, I want to take you back to 1981.
Please don't. I would be negative 9 years old.
And then I'm going to take you back to ancient Greece.
Oh, and
then I'm going to
in what manner?
And then I'm going to take you to the Napoleon times.
I can see you're ramping up to something. I'll let you finish.
Did you think I wasn't? Do you think this was an actual journey I was planning for us?
I don't know how you were planning to do this, but I mean, I assume you have a plan.
Do you think this was like a travel itinerary I was putting together for the two of us?
Or like a pitch, yeah.
Yeah, it's a pitch.
Yeah, I'm not going to invest in your time machine again.
Well, in lieu of a fully funded time machine, I thought we could just instead reboot the 1981 Time Bandits.
Oh. Now I'm going to take a guess. I've never seen this movie. I want to take a wild guess.
Mm-hmm.
It involves time travel.
It does involve time travel.
And I'm still just going to spitball here.
Mm-hmm.
These bandits, they bandit. Is bandit a verb that way? They perform banditry in the past.
That is correct.
And then they come to the future.
Well, they come to the present.
But here's the thing. Here's the problem.
Mm-hmm.
So you go back in time, right? And you steal an original Da Vinci.
Mm-hmm.
All right? You time travel to the present.
Mm-hmm.
And you bring it in to the art man.
And he's like,
and you say, I'd like to sell this. And he says, that's fine. We're just going to perform some quick verification tests. Oop. All of our dating procedures have shown that this painting is about 20 minutes old, so it's obviously a fake.
Is that how that would work? Oh,
because they test the paint and stuff this painting has existed for maybe a week.
For 20 minutes in the painting's timeline. Yeah.
So you can't. How do you? Gold
also,
is always gold.
None of them would care about the Mona Lisa because you stole it. So they wouldn't even know what it was.
You got to steal the small time stuff, right?
Yeah.
You got to look them up. You have to find all the paintings that people care about and make sure you don't steal those.
What you have to do is you have to steal them in the past and then leave them in the past where you can then find them in the future.
Ooh, okay.
You'd have to go to the past and then construct a vault.
Get a safety deposit box in the past.
And then you leave them in the past and then you come to the future.
Pay up front. It's going to be a couple mil, right?
Yeah, so you're going to have to do one big banditry first to finance that.
To get the security box funded.
Mm-hmm.
And then you say, this box, it's going to be climate controlled. Here's, I don't even know what it costs. Here's $5 million. No person, in your lifetime, you will die and no one will ever come and look at this box, but I'm going to pay for 200 years up front.
It's like the letter that Doc Brown leaves for Marty McFly at the bank.
Yeah. You're all going to take bets on whether or not. I guess the first thing you'd have to do is be in the future and look up banks that didn't have any fires or anything for 200 years. Yeah. Or you just keep checking in every 10 years, but that would get boring.
I think most banks didn't have fires.
Yeah, well, because they would hide the fires.
I don't even know that you'd put it in a bank. I think you would construct a private vault.
Oh, but that just begs to get banditried, right?
But they wouldn't know about it.
And then you've got other time bandits on your ass.
Keep that off the books.
But how did you even find out about your treasure in the first place, right? You're in the future, you did research. So other people in the future from you are reading the Time Magazine news article about your secret vault full of rich stuff.
Time Magazine is not about time travel.
Oh, what?
It's not about things that are in time.
Why do they call it that then?
Unclear. But I know it's not about that.
All right, well you're reading fancy vaults Quarterly, I think is safe. And
there's three. There's 4 a year.
There's 4. I mean, there's not that many time vaults, right? They've got to. So you're reading time vaults quarterly, and it's the year 3100, and there's a historical breakdown of one of the very first time vaults, your time vault.
Do they put time capsules in time vaults?
I mean, you can. I don't see why not. I don't really think time capsules are already built to be self-sustaining.
Here's my thing about time capsules.
In Mother Nature's bosom.
I think capsule is inherently a very cool word, and time capsule conjures images of very cool looking like sci-fi future crap. And the time capsules we see are always just like boxes and crap.
Yeah,
and they don't look as
like
cool as they should sound.
Metal box.
I think the DBZ Capsule Corp might be why I think capsules are so cool.
I mean, I agree. But so someone on 3100 is reading Time Vaults quarterly, and they have a special piece on the world's first Time Vault. But one of these people, because they can't vet their subscribers. They don't really care. They're just selling magazine subscriptions. So a person reading this issue of Time Vaults quarterly is themselves a time bandit, and they think to themselves, well, all the way up until the year like 2250, that time vault was just sitting there, so I could do it, and I could be the guy. Right?
Yeah.
So then history is now this line of echoes where every year history is rewritten so that the latest time bandit to have that idea is the guy that opened the first time vault. Right? But it's constantly getting overwritten. Basically, as the timeline moves forward, time just becomes scar tissue.
And so, yeah.
So this movie has Sean Connery in it.
Let's go ahead and reboot this. Do you want to... So I watched the trailer for it, and this is one of the most bonkers trailers I've ever seen, in that it gives no information. The whole trailer... So it's... You know how, like, old 80s trailers are usually, like, the scruffy voiced narrator, like, summarizing the entire plot.
Doesn't know.
Yeah, and he's like talking the entire time.
A merman.
Right, exactly. And he's like talking the entire time. So this is kind of that, except it's the scruffy voiced guy like reading a script, and then presumably the director of the film keeps interrupting him and correcting him, and so no actual information comes out. And then at one point the director just takes over and he says like, we worked really hard on it and I think it's good and you should see it. And the other guy, it is incredibly uninformative. And it's 3 minutes of that. 3 minutes of just movie footage with no explanation.
That's the way to do it if you can get it.
If you can get it. So this movie, Frank.
So now I'm clicking on a YouTube link real quick right now for you that you sent me.
Yeah, you don't have to watch the whole thing. It is 3 minutes long. We'll just have 3 minutes of dead air. That'll be fine.
Yeah, okay, there's Sean Connery just like an ancient Roman, okay.
No, incorrect, but we'll get there.
An ancient Greek?
We'll get there.
Okay, there's an 11-year-old boy playing with Lego bricks. Oh, there's a little... oh, no, okay, now it's gone. This was 1981? Okay. Yeah, the director's yelling at the narrator now. This is a very confusing trailer. There's an ogre-type man yelling. This is giving me no information whatsoever. All right, there's a man with a knife coming out of his head, but it looks like he's doing it on purpose somehow.
I think that's just supposed to be like a horn.
And now there's a minotaur, except it's obviously a man in a very bad mask. I mean, Star Wars was only 1977, and they did way better than this. This movie seems bonkers. Okay, wow, so I still don't know what this movie's about, but it clearly involves many different time periods.
Yep.
So the trailer didn't even tell me what they were banditing. So what were they banditing?
Well, so that's the thing. So let me give you a what's the word? Summary.
Summary?
So the film focuses on 11-year-old Kevin.
Just Kevin.
Kevin is sleeping in his bed one night when suddenly 6 dwarves burst through his wardrobe.
Now, quick pause.
Go on.
Fantasy dwarves or inconsiderate name for a small person?
Both?
All right. Unpause.
I believe they are fantasy dwarves played by little people.
Ah.
And so they have this map, and they are revealed to be former employees of the Supreme Being.
Okay.
Capital T, capital S,
S,
capital B.
Capital B, okay.
And their job used to be to patch time holes in the space-time continuum, but then they decided that they would use the map of time holes to steal things from history, steal riches.
Quick pause. The Supreme Being is in fact the good guy in the story.
Kind of, yes.
He's fixing time, and they have stolen from him what is his rightful property.
Yeah. I think they're supposed to be kind of like lovable rascals, though. It's like, you guys, don't steal that.
Don't wreck don't, undo the universe. Okay.
I think they like steal it for personal gain, and then at some point. So can you guess who the bad guy's name is, Frank?
The Darkness?
No, it's close. His name is Evil.
Oh, just Evil.
Correct. His name, they're fighting Evil.
So the Supreme Being is fighting Evil.
Yes. And
Evil.
Kevin goes to a lot of different places. He goes to the Napoleonic Wars. I believe he does meet Napoleon. He meets Robin Hood. He gets sent to ancient Greece, meets King Agamemnon, which is Sean Connery. They get to the Titanic, and they're there for the sinking.
They don't help her save it?
No, they sink it. They're there. No, they don't sink it. They're there when it gets sinked.
Oh, okay. But they don't help.
Correct. So then...
And these are still the good guys, right?
Yeah.
I'm just making sure. Okay.
And then they get sent to Evil's realm called the Time of Legends, and then...
A place called the Time of Legends.
The Time of Legends. And then they find the Fortress of Ultimate Darkness, and they're tricked...
That's Evil's fortress.
Correct. And they're tricked into believing that the most fabulous object in the world, capitalization as appropriate, is there. They get trapped, and Evil takes the map away from them. But then they find Kevin's been taking Polaroids of all of their adventures the entire time.
The 80s, of course.
Yeah, and so then he realizes that he has a Polaroid with the map in it and discovers a hole in the fortress that they get out of. And then Evil tries to beat them again, and an old man shows up, and it turns out to be the Supreme Being. And then they fight. And then Kevin goes home.
And it's like... Good. I mean, so he takes the map back.
Yeah. Kevin gets the map back to the Supreme Being.
Okay.
He does accidentally... So, when he goes to Trojan times, King Agamemnon is fighting, like, a bad guy or some guy, and Sean Connery gets knocked down, and the guy's about to do his killing blow, and then Kevin falls through the time hole on top of Sean Connery, which startles the guy, and then Sean Connery throws his sword at the guy and kills him.
Just full overhand.
And then Sean Connery adopts Kevin.
For how long?
Well, until Kevin I think like probably an hour until Kevin gets like found by the dwarves and they take him away. Okay. But so this is about time banditry and good versus evil, redemption, you know.
So, up until the very end of the movie, they don't actually steal anything.
They might be stealing things as they go.
Just grabbing, whatever's around.
Yeah, whatever's not nailed down.
Okay.
Fun fact about this: songs by George Harrison, and George Harrison actually he mortgaged one of the buildings he owned so that he could finance the film.
Oh.
Mm-hmm.
He believed in them.
Yes.
Well.
I'm reading a list of trivia about this, and they wrote Agamemnon to be Sean Connery or an actor of equal but cheaper stature. So they wrote it...
Humorous.
They wrote it hoping for Sean Connery, but never actually thinking they'd get Sean Connery.
Wow. A lot of stuff.
Yeah,
lot of stuff. So I feel like our first mission is to focus or refocus the mission.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so 11-year-old Kevin, good.
Good.
You need the Polaroids. Guess what? Don't need to change that because it's retro and that's hip.
Yeah, he's now a hipster. 11-year-old quirky
I
boy.
think we even go beyond Polaroids. He takes honest to God film pictures and has like a portable.
Yeah, he has to be able to develop them.
Yeah, he has like a backpack kit that's like a tent with like an unfoldable developing studio.
That's
so he, they go like, we need that time picture, Kevin, and he's like, give me 3 hours, God.
I'm in the red room, dark room.
Leave me alone.
I keep calling it the red room. I've had a conversation about this type of room several times in the past week. I don't know why, but I keep calling it a red room.
A red room. So I gotta get in the red room. Give me.
It's called a dark room.
Buy me some time. Well, why? So the Polaroids are just a quirk until the very end when looking at the pictures helps them in some way?
Yeah, it's one of those things that they do in movies a lot where there's always like something that seems insignificant and then it turns out to be the key to everything.
In 1940, you took a picture of a road sign, but that's the password to the secret puzzle maze.
Mm-hmm.
It's jambalaya.
Jambalaya. Would you like to know the dwarves' names?
Yeah, okay.
So you've got Randall, the lead dwarf of the group.
Good.
And then you have Fidget, Strutter, Og, Wally, and Vermin.
Vermin, huh?
Vermin sounds like the Judas of the group.
Yeah, he doesn't sound like the nice one.
No.
Randall, Fidget, Strutter, Og, Wally, and Vermin.
So obviously now in our 2017 reboot, Fidget will be decked out in fidget spinners.
Mm-hmm. And he will physically rotate himself very often.
I think he'll just, I guess. He'll be like wearing
he'll often be moving around in a circular manner.
You know how?
And then other dwarves will say like, Fidget, stand still. And he'll say like, spinner's gotta spin.
Spinner's gotta spin. You know how like fishermen have those vests where they like always have like hooks and bait or whatever attached to on the outside?
Yeah.
He has
like
a vest. He has a vest that's just like fidget spinners.
Maybe he uses them as like tools. Or like this one is an attack spinner and he like throws it in
shuriken.
The air. Yeah. Well, sort of, because there's other ones too, like a like one that's like a nail gun and one that can set things on fire.
One's just a wrench. How do the fidget spinners do this? Did he acquire these? Did he bandit these?
They have dwarven magic, obviously, right?
Or I was going to say, did he bandit these from the future when fidget spinner technology has exceeded our own?
Are we going to bandit the future?
I don't see why not. It is interesting to me that
is their mission to bandit the future to the past?
No, their mission, they don't have... Well, so are they on a mission or are they still just wanting to get rich?
Are they still getting rich? Okay, so...
Honestly, if you're going to time bandit, let's be real, the easiest way to get rich would be to go to the future, steal some technology, and then bring it back and patent it. Which,
And that would also advance humanity's evolution, right? Mm-hmm. You go 10 years in the future. You bring back an entire factory that can make microchips, and you plunk it down in 1970. Now, when you go to the new 2010, humanity has advanced, since then, from the 1970 technology that's now better.
Now, I just want to talk about the feasibility of transmatting an entire factory from the future to the present, and exactly how you think that's possible.
Yeah. So okay. I guess let's do this first.
Maybe we just, you could just steal the planes.
They have a time map, but how do they actually travel?
They just know the time map shows them where the time holes are.
So there's time holes. You jump in the time hole. You come out the time hole, and you're wherever else now.
Yeah. So I guess there was a time hole in Kevin's wardrobe.
House.
But also they can like push the wall. They get into his house and then they can like push the walls of his bedroom.
What does that even mean?
I don't know. See, it says they find that the bedroom wall can be pushed, revealing a long hallway.
You push a hallway? What?
Kevin is hesitant to join down the hallway until the visage of a menacing head, the supreme being, appears behind them, demanding the return of the map. Kevin and the dwarves fall into an empty void at the end of the hallway. So there's just like holes everywhere. And I'm not really
And they don't control where the holes go, right?
I feel like they must not. See, they're clearly also space. They're not only time holes, but they're definitely space holes because he like falls through his bedroom in United States of America into Greece.
I mean, they would have to be space holes anyway, because otherwise,
the Earth moves.
You would accidentally just be hovering in space because the Earth's over there.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So they still steal a time map from the Supreme Being.
Yeah.
Randall, Fidget Spinner, Strutter, Og, Wally, and Vermin. I feel like Vermin has a lot of piercings.
He's like a punk dwarf.
Yeah. And
he's got that spiked jacket.
Here we go. He's the only one who's like, they all have, their weapons, right? They all have the things that they do. And I think Vermin's the only one that just like straight up has like a 9mm handgun. But like he doesn't, there's like one time in the movie where he just pulls it out and like shoots a guy.
So definitely going for a bit higher than the original PG rating this film got.
I think, it's gonna be a romp. PG-13 is the new PG.
Okay, so you've got like Fidget, who's got fidget spinner weapons. He's got
the multi-tools, but he's also got the bombs.
Multi-tools and bombs? I think maybe.
Well, no, his fidget spinners, like they like skitter on the ground and then blow up because it's a bomb spinner.
Okay, so we're gonna do an exercise.
But he's still got the wrench spinner and he still has the fire spinner.
So aside from Fidget and Vermin, they got a bit more fleshing out, I want to do an exercise with you. For the remaining 4, I'm just going to say their name and you have to reflexively, you can't think about it, just first thing that pops into your head, you assign them their weapon/tool. Okay, so
hit me.
Randall.
Lasso.
Strutter.
Stilts.
Og.
That's gotta be a hammer.
And finally, Wally.
Alright, so you said the first thing I thought of. You said Wally, and the first thing I thought of was a denim jacket. So fashion.
Well, okay, so he has a denim jacket.
There's no takebacks, so Wally has a denim jacket.
It's got like a cool, like, flamed tiger embroidered on the back of it.
Oh, it does.
Okay. So their goal is, what do they plan to do with these riches?
Yeah, so I feel like here in the original plot that we reviewed, they have a time map and they're just kind of running around, but they don't have like a thing that they're like doing. Right?
Yeah. I do think here's the thing too. Because we're going to get tweets and we're going to get a lot of criticisms from the nerds out there. Specifically about like, well, how do they get to each time hole? How is there conveniently a time hole whenever they want to leave? So here's what we'll do. We'll add in that they can open a time hole, but they can that time hole closes when they go through it, and it only leads to an already existing open time hole.
Yeah. Just
to get that out of the way, get the nerds off our backs.
They've got a train whistle for time holes.
Yeah.
Where they just go,
time hole. They can only come out at a time hole station, but they can depart from anywhere.
Yeah.
It's like
once they're through the time hole, they're just in time.
It's like in Star Trek, when they beam you up, do you have to go to the beam room? Or can they beam you up from one place and then set you down somewhere else?
I honestly don't know. I think that theoretically they could beam you anywhere else. It's just that it's very, very, very often that they do beam them back to the ship, because the beam room is a place where there's guaranteed to be no other matter in the way.
Ah, that's smart. Okay.
You don't want to get beamed into the bookcase. That's not going to go well.
No, because then you've got like a bookcase.
You're going to be a book.
You got books in your lungs.
Yeah. Books for lungs.
Books as lungs.
And then somebody's pulling a book out of a shelf, and what is that? Oh, it's a human lung.
Oh, and those are your testes.
Mm-hmm. It just would not be a good scene. So they can pull up the time whistle, jump in the time hole, and they come out wherever the time hole goes. They don't choose.
I think they do choose. Now, because I think they can see the time holes, and they're like, okay, we're going to go to this one.
The time hole opens,
and then
they look in the time hole, and they go, all right, guys, we're waiting for the next one. If we wait for the next one, like, it could be days.
No, I was picturing that they can open a time hole and then choose which other time hole they exit from. But you're saying
it has to be one they haven't yet already used because they can't overlap.
So they only get one chance.
There's no
at
Randalls
each location.
touching Randalls. You can't intersect, right?
That would make because does time pass like? That's a good point. Does the time hole always open to the exact same moment in time?
Yeah, is a time hole
like if I open a time hole to Napoleon times and it opens to Wednesday Napoleon times, if I wait a day, does the time hole then open to Thursday Napoleon times, or does it still open on Wednesday?
So I think that time is a
flat circle.
Yeah, so you look at it from the top. And
all circles are
where
flat.
the pencil that was drawing the circle had to pick itself up and put itself back down, and there's a weakness. There's a gap in the flat circle.
Sure.
Those gaps are all the time holes, and they just are when they are, right?
Right. Okay.
So if you want to go back to the vampire times in England, it's gonna drop you right down into April 20th.
So they can only visit each time hole one time, is what you're telling me.
Well, so new time hole opens as time gets weak.
I see. So they just got to wait for the next one. All right, whatever. We're spending a bit long on this mechanic.
On time holing.
Yeah, we don't want a time hole for too long here. So do we want to... They got to go to the future at least once, I think, to make this super cool. And we'll send them to 1,000 years in our future when
the squids have won.
The squids have won, but there's very, very good squid technology that they can steal and bring back for.
Yeah, and it's all like gross and biological. You know what I mean? Like they don't have like microchips, but they like have like have you ever seen Farscape?
No.
All right, never mind.
It's all very squishy and slimy.
So, like, instead of cell phones, they have, like, a 16-legged talk squid that gloms onto your ear holes.
Ugh.
And it psychically talks to the other talk squids because evolution has guided purpose.
Right, okay.
Within the squid, capital S. So maybe, here's what happens. Maybe they go to the future, and they see that the squids have won. And they say... Before we were bandits, but now we must be thieves.
Are the squids capital E evil?
Yeah. To make it easier, let's say yes.
So like evil has
I don't want to
won.
have like a whole political. Maybe they're not evil. They're going to be bad.
No, they are the character evil.
Oh, are the squids?
Evil is a squid.
Evil is a
evil
squid.
Himself is a squid.
Yeah, Lord Evil is the king of the squids.
Yeah, and he's got the Fortress of Ultimate Darkness.
Mega pit.
Right, so then they're like, oh, we've made a mistake.
We gotta go back. Roll him up.
The guy who plays Bilbo Baggins, I think, is the guy who plays Napoleon in this BTW.
Oh, wow.
Ian Holm. So then, what do they do? Do they get... So I imagine they get to Squidland.
Yeah, and they see that the squids are gross.
And the map gets stolen, and then he goes into his dark room.
He starts developing pictures. Oh! I like it. So he starts developing pictures, and he took this one picture that was it was a more recent part of the distant past, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it was like the 1800s, right?
Mm-hmm.
And he's taking a picture, and he sees that there's a man in the background who's the baby that he's holding is not a baby, it's a squid in a blanket.
Oh, squid in a blanket. And who's that blanket?
And it's just a blanket that you would put a baby in, but there's a squid in it.
Yeah, why is there a squid in it?
Because he traveled back to implant the squids on Earth. But the squid is a baby right now.
I see. So here's what I'm thinking.
So they have to go back to the vampire times in England and find the squid.
Yes. So they have to go. Yes. Okay, so this fits well into my favorite interpretation of how time travel works. So you know how there's always that argument, well, if you went back in time and stopped this thing, then you never would have come back in time or forward in time in the first place or whatever, right?
They have to stop the squid by accident without doing it on purpose?
Well, no, so here's what it is. And this is a interpretation that I take from Dr. McNinja by Christopher Hastings. I think it is very good. So basically, anytime a time traveler happens, it creates and he alters the time stream. It creates a new anytime you travel back in the past, it creates a new reality. So in this instance, whenever Kevin travels back to the past to stop the squids, it will create a new reality in which the squids never happened, but the squid reality still exists. So he also needs to remain in the future for long enough to overthrow those squids and then go back in time to stop the squids from happening to his reality.
One more time?
So
different?
So he's in the future.
Mm-hmm.
And there are squids.
They're squids.
If he goes back in time to prevent the squids from happening,
yes,
then that will actually just create a new reality where the squids never took over, but the reality with the squids still exists. And so...
Okay, so separate timelines.
Yeah, but so in order for him to have a clear conscience, he needs to at least, help the future defeat the squids before he goes back in time to save his own future.
Okay.
So that's the thing he can do. We can have a cool future rebellion.
And then they use their, hammer, lasso,
man,
gun.
We just cannot go 2 episodes without doing a post-apocalypse resistance movie, can we?
It's just, they're so hot right now.
They are so hot right now.
They sell the pies.
That'll be a very short part of the film. He goes into the Fortress of Ultimate Darkness and he steals the map back with the 6 dwarves, and they blow up the fortress as they leave. It's like a 10-minute
it's just
scene.
Boom.
Yeah.
The part in the very good Indiana Jones part where the guy does all the sword dancing, and Harrison Ford
just
had diarrhea that day in real life, and so Indiana Jones pulls out his gun and shoots the guy.
Yep.
They do that to the squids when they show up to the castle.
And then the time hole is in a refrigerator, so they jump into the refrigerator to avoid the exploding fortress. Another Indiana Jones good. Yeah.
Well, mine was a good one.
Mm.
And then probably Shia LaBeouf is there, and then they push him through the time hole, and that's where he's been all these years.
Yeah, actual cannibal Shia LaBeouf. Cool. And then he goes to the past. Evil still exists in the past, but evil has not conquered, and so he has to. The Supreme Being shows up, and then they fight evil, and then
Lord, capital E.
Yes, every time I say evil, I'm speaking of the character evil, not the concept.
The person.
The person whose name is Evil, an incredibly good name. This movie is good?
Yeah. And then, everything is good and fine. And
I want to watch this movie.
I need personal closure, so on just one thing, which is that Wally can't be useless. How does he do something cool with a jean jacket?
I think the jean jacket is the
map on the back?
It's the time hole gate. They all jump into his...
so the tiger on his back comes alive and forms a circle.
They jump into his back, and then the back, he turns
and
inside
then
out.
Sucks him in from the front.
Yeah.
Okay.
He folds himself into it, and it's actually...
Because what I'm thinking, whip, lasso, real gun, these are weapons, but jean jackets are attire, and therefore can be sold as merch.
Yes. Ooh. I feel like they should all have a jean jacket then.
But then it would make Wally's less special.
No, Wally's the only one with the jean jacket. You're right. You're right. Do you think we get Sean Connery back for Agamemnon?
Yeah. I mean, I don't really think he's been in much recently. I feel like we could hook him.
I feel like we could get him pretty good. I think we could get. Maybe we get Martin Freeman, the new Bilbo Baggins for Napoleon.
Oh, a little nod. Yeah.
It has to be a Bilbo for sure.
It's gotta be a Bilbo.
Got to be a Bilbo. And then I think, do we get Peter Dinklage to play Randall?
If he'll agree. I think
he could go for
it's a good
Randall
role.
or maybe Vermin.
Oh, he'd be good as Vermin.
He was in
we need somebody that can sell that smolder, you know?
Peter Dinklage was in I think they were a punk band.
Man, that's good.
It's called.
Yeah, I think I like him as
his
Vermin.
band was called. They were punk. They were called Wizzy. Guy I used to work with played a show with them back in the day.
And Kevin is going to be one of those Stranger Things kids, probably.
Oh yeah, that's really good. Could he be
just whichever one?
Millie Bobby Brown, and she's a girl who's been named Kevin.
Yeah. Okay. Kevin's the middle name.
Yeah, everyone calls her Kevin because Kevin sounds like 11 because that's the Stranger Thing.
Yeah, that is the strange thing.
The Stranger Thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. The Stranger Thing.
Not to be confused with Kevin Levin from Ben 10.
No, who is very cool.
Yeah, very cool. Tons of friends.
Okay, well, I think that'll do it for this one. I think we can cut it, print it,
we can print,
ship it, shove it in a time hole.
Crim it. What did we say last time?
What did we reboot last time?
Cram it in the...
cram it in a...
It doesn't run. Let's zip it in a pizza pouch. Zip it? Is that what we say?
Oh, we put it in a pizza pouch, but we already crammed it in a time hole, so I think...
In my mind... Oh, actually, that's a really good question. So does a pizza pouch... You slide your slice in... Now, in my head, you zipped up the side,
really getting
but
into
instead, is there a flap with buttons that folds over the crust?
You thought the pizza pouch was a side zip?
Because you need to be able to and then get that slice out, right?
Yeah, why wouldn't it be a top down so you can get the crust?
Well, I know, but the top down, the zip would be weird because zippers have to go straight. So is it instead of folding pouch with buttons?
I think
then it's not watertight.
Yeah, I think it's just a big Ziploc bag, big enough to fit that crust.
Okay. Yeah.
Do you wear it around your neck? I always imagined it being worn around the neck.
I always imagined it being worn around the neck, yeah.
All right, we really got into it. I'm glad we did that. Thank you so much to everybody who listens to Rebootleggers. We love you so much. Please give us a rating and review and subscribe on iTunes. That would help us out a ton. Follow us on Twitter. We've been kind of part of an official podcast network called Podern Family. There's a ton of other great podcasts in there if you just search for that hashtag. There's a lot of things that I think are very overlapping with our interests. A lot of 80s movie recollections and good stuff in there. You can find us online at rebootleggers.net or .org. Either one works. And until next time, I'm Scott Owen.
I'm Frank Serra.
Frank, what's our password for next week?
Password for next week is a little long. Jump through the tire on my back now.